A very good morning to you once again. It's 10 to 8 if you're looking at the time. It's time for us to take a look at this particular issue that has been trending on social media. Streets have been cordoned off around the High Court in Limpopo's capital, Polokwane. That's where EFF leader Julius Malema is due to appear in court today. Malema and two co-accused are to appear on charges of fraud, corruption, money laundering and racketeering. Now, for more on today's trial and also a look at what happened overnight, we cross live to our reporter on the ground, Chriselda Lewis. Chriselda, a very good morning to you and thank you so much for joining us. Before we talk about what is expected today, could you quickly bring us up to speed with some proceedings overnight regarding the night vigil there?
Well, that's right, Ayanda. You know, quite a very long night as hundreds of those economic freedom fighters sat at the Jack Waters Hall, saying that they were there to support the EFF president, Julius Malema. We saw there, of course, the Deputy President, Floyd Shimbabu, speaking to the hundreds that had gathered at that wall, many of them saying that the charges against Mr. Malema should be dropped, and this is all but a conspiracy. They made reference to the other court proceedings that took place relating to the South African Revenue Service, saying that justice needs to be done in this particular instance, and justice for them is that Julius Malema should be let go. He should not be facing these charges, Ayanda. But just to bring you up to speed with what's happening here this morning, bright and early already, and as we mentioned, several of the streets around the court have been closed since the early hours of this morning. You'll be able to see here behind me the barbed wire that has been placed around this court. Essentially, you cannot move from particular areas here at this court, and many of the media have been brought in to a particular space that they're supposed to occupy for this trial. Now, what will happen also is that the media will be accredited this morning. Some of the media will be accredited to go inside the court before proceedings get underway at 10 o'clock this morning. Let me just walk this side and ask our camera person, Smoo, to walk with us as well. You also see the large police presence here as well. You know, already counting about 10 vehicles from the South African Police Service. The police have been saying to us all weekend they are ready for any eventuality, and essentially what is happening, Ayanda, is that many of those economic freedom fighters who stayed at the Jack Waters Hall all night will remain at that wall, which is just a few meters away from the court. Only a few of them will also be allowed to go inside the court when the proceedings get underway. What we're expecting Mr. Malema, of course, and his co-accused Kagiso Tichabe, as well as Lisiba Kwangwa, to arrive at this court perhaps shortly before 10 o'clock.
Now, will you remind us how we got to this point? To just bring us up to speed with OnPoint Engineering. What exactly is it? Why is Julius Malema appearing in court today? We know some of his supporters are saying it's politically motivated. Some perhaps may be confused with, is this similar to the tax charges that he faces? Just remind us about this particular legal proceeding and why we're here today.
Ayanda, essentially this is all linked to a 2009 tender that the Limpopo Department of Roads and Transport had given to OnPoint Engineering. Now, Mr. Malema is a co-owner of OnPoint Engineering, and the two co-accused that I speak of are directors at OnPoint Engineering. Essentially, what the National Prosecuting Authority is saying is that OnPoint Engineering should not have been awarded that tender back in 2009. They accuse the company of misrepresenting itself, saying that the company had said that it had been operating for quite some time, yet it had only been operating for about 9 months. So they're saying misrepresentation comes into the effect in that part. And they also say that OnPoint Engineering had overcharged the department, the Limpopo Department of Roads and Transport. Essentially, to sum it up, that's exactly how we got here at this point. And the National Prosecuting Authority says it's quite confident in its case. There were several postponements, you would recall, Ayanda, in this particular matter. The NPA says it's ready to proceed in this case. We're expecting about over 60 witnesses to be called in this matter, and really the trial itself is expected to last about 6 weeks.
And that was going to be my next question to you, Chriselda. How many days had been set aside for this trial? And you have brought us up to speed with that. But what are we expecting when it comes to the support on the ground? I mean, looking at the sizable police presence that you have mentioned, it's quite an impressive display of strength. This says to me that perhaps police are expecting some sort of, what can I say to put it politely, some sort of showing of equal strength by members of the EFF. What have they said to you about what they're expecting today, both police officers and also members of the EFF?
Well, on the part of the police, Ayanda, they seem to be quite well prepared. I must remind you that this is not the first time that they've been barricading the roads around this court. In the several postponements in this particular matter, this has been the case. What they're saying is that due to the massive support that EFF members have given to the EFF leader, Julius Malema, they've seen that hundreds of people have come from around the country. And in order to ensure that there is peace around this area and that the areas around the court and also traffic, to manage traffic in this particular area, they will cordon off areas around the court. And due to the support, not everyone is going to be allowed inside court. Many of these members will be kept just a few meters away from the court. Essentially, it's about being ready to ensure that irrespective of the case that's going on, it is business as usual in the Polokwane CBD. And the part of the EFF, as I mentioned already, Ayanda, they're saying that justice delayed is justice denied. Certainly those are the sentiments that we've been hearing since yesterday afternoon, when we saw quite a number of them come in from the different provinces, and they'd been basically screaming on loudhailers, saying that many people should come out and support Mr. Julius Malema. This is nothing but a conspiracy. This is nothing but a waste of taxpayers' money. This is nothing but a waste of basically political football. So what they're saying essentially is that this trial needs to come to a speedy end, and the only result that they're looking for is for Mr. Julius Malema to be found not guilty, or if not, that this entire case should be thrown out of this court.
And as briefly as possible, Chriselda, you said proceedings should be set to take place or get underway at 10 o'clock, I believe it is. Quickly, just bring us up to speed with the logistics inside the courtroom now.
Well, that's right. As soon as I'm done with this crossing with you, Ayanda, I will be going inside, and that's where the media will be accredited. Of course, we've had to arrive here quite early to get the accreditation process out of the way so that proceedings can get underway at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock it is, and the court case should continue. A court case, of course, has been postponed several times.
We'll have to leave it there, at least for now. Let me release you, Chriselda, so you can get a front row seat and bring us the very latest regarding that particular story that is dominating headlines. And you'll remember the EFF has been trending for some time now. They just celebrated their 2-year anniversary not too long ago. So we'll keep a close watch on that particular story as and when the information becomes available. Chriselda will bring us up to speed with the latest. With that, it's time for us to say